Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with another installment of Scary Stories, where today I'll be reading from Reddit user, well crap. That escalated quickly. Let's begin. It was about 2 a.m. when I was woken up by what sounded like screams in the middle of the forest. I lived deep in the woods, so I wasn't too surprised. Big guttural screams are fairly common. Sound of what sounded like hail came next, and that's when I started to panic a little. We get some pretty intense thunderstorms where I live, but it's late summer now and it hasn't rained in months. It was bone dry outside. I looked out the window to see if there were any flashes or anything, and that's when I saw something standing on my windowsill. It was about 4 feet tall and looked to be either a dog or a wolf, although it didn't look like any kind of animal I'd seen before. It had fur that seemed to be matted and caked with dried blood. There were also these long strips hanging from its sides that looked like old, dirty bandages. I think I just stared at it for a good 5 minutes in a panic, while it stared back at me. It was breathing heavily, almost like it was tired. It also seemed to be limping. I could hear a distinct click as one of its legs hit the glass. After a few more minutes, it dropped to all fours and started pacing back and forth on my windowsill. This was really freaking me out. I live alone, but I have a fair amount of guns in the house. I was trying to remember if I'd loaded the ones under my bed. But before I could even make it out of bed, the thing on my window suddenly stopped pacing and reared back on 2 legs. It put its front paws on the glass and started scratching at it. It did this for a few seconds before dropping back down and running off into the woods. I spent the rest of the night awake, of course, but didn't hear anything else until about 6 a.m. when I heard what sounded like screams again, only this time they were much closer. Around 8 a.m. I finally felt safe enough to leave my room and go check out my windows. I was left even more confused because I noticed that the latch on my window was broken and the window was wide open. I didn't remember opening it. I also didn't remember seeing any signs of forced entry anywhere, and even if whatever that thing was had managed to break the latch, it would have needed to put a lot of force on the door in order to get it open, because it does unexactly open easily. Still freaked out, I called my mom, who lives down the road, to ask if she had seen anything or maybe even heard something. She told me that she hadn't seen anything and that she had slept through the night without a single disturbance. She did tell me, though, that we should probably get together soon, and that she would come over later that day to help me clean out my garage. A few hours went by and I finally felt calm enough to go back to sleep. Around 3 p.m., my mom arrived to help me clean out my garage. It had been an ongoing project for weeks, and I finally figured I had gotten it clean enough to the point where I would unfeel so bad if someone broke in and trashed it. Little did I know that would become a reality. When I let my mom in, she immediately asked why the hell my window was open. I told her about what happened the night before, and she gave me a knowing look inside. She then proceeded to walk out into my backyard and disappeared behind some trees. I followed her out, and she pointed to the muddy ground, where it was clear a large animal had been. She said that whoever or whatever was on my window last night wasn't small. She also said that she thinks we need to call the police, and I wholeheartedly agreed. We walked back inside, and I called the local police department. When I told them what happened, they basically just laughed at me and hung up the phone. Later that night, while I was still waiting for the police to come back with some answers, my mom and I finished cleaning out my garage. As we were taking out some old boxes, we found a pair of huge wolf-like tracks in the mud. I took some pictures and sent them to the police, but I never got a reply. A couple days went by and I heard about a missing persons case in a nearby town. The details about the disappearance were a bit fuzzy, but I distinctly remembered that the missing person was a woman around her late 30s, and that she was last seen wearing a pair of dirty old overalls. Which is odd because that is exactly what my mother was wearing when she went out back to look for animal tracks. It was also odd that the missing person's name was Karen and my mother's name is Karen. I called the police department again, but the person I spoke to denied any knowledge of my mother being involved in a missing persons investigation. To this day, neither the police nor anyone else has been able to give me a good explanation for what happened to my mom. As for the animal on my window, well, I never saw it again. But I do find hairs in the house every now and then that I can only describe as looking like dirty bandages. The story ends. Now Reddit user, well crap, that escalated quickly. If you like the story, please leave a like and share this video with a friend. And if you want to hear more stories like this, then stay tuned for more content. And as always, thanks for watching.